Steve Evans, it's getting a little bit tight at the top of League Two at the minute. How's the nerves around the camp?
Yeah, the boys are good. Listen, isn't that a fantastic position to be in? 6 games to go. Most of the others have got 5. I think there's the only exception. The girls got 6. And we're fighting for promotion to League One. It's the biggest success story in League Two. It's the biggest turnaround. Carlisle next to us, who are fighting for the same prize with Simo, have done a brilliant job. But it's exciting times for everyone. I think I've often been a manager where people talk about my promotions, but I've also been a manager where you're playing mid-table nothing games at the end of the season, and believe me, that's more difficult, not only to get your players motivated and up for it, but to get yourself and everyone else up for it, and your supporters. But there's no one can say at the Lamex on Saturday and Tuesday and going up to Mansfield next week that people won't be excited in both grounds.
Now, well, I've been trying to compare it to like a sporting analogy. It's either like a 400-metre race where the staggers unwound and everyone's coming to the home straight together, or like the Grand National this weekend, you've got a couple of flights to go and it's just who's got the stamina to get it.
Yeah, listen, I think there's nothing better when you go into that home straight in the Grand National and you look at your jockey and he's just holding that bridle thinking, I'm just waiting to go. But it's not going to be like that because this is football and not horse racing. So we've seen last week some results went the way that people would have expected them. But a lot of results didn't. A lot of results went the opposite way. So it's proven that it's difficult to win games in League Two at this stage of the season as it is League One. And it just shows you the integrity that's in the EFL at both ends of the table that people are fighting tooth and nail.
Let's look at that performance at Hartlepool from your performance. I mean, first half was excellent. Second half there was a few little things that need tightened up on. Has that been sort of dressed?
Yeah, listen, first half was outstanding. First half was our best away performance in months. We know and you know and I know and everyone's in the ground know, including the gaffer, who said afterwards it should have been done and dusted by half time, but games are never won in the 45-minute mark, whether you're winning or losing. And goals change games. We conceded a shocking goal inside the first minute of the second half. And that gives a good Hartlepool team some real good momentum. That's a Hartlepool team that showed that 4-1 victory at Grimsby before they played us, and then that fighting spirit against us that ain't turned up for 9 months. It's principally the same boys, isn't it? But somehow they realise that getting out of the Football League is a problem. But come back to yourselves, that's what's important. I think Hartlepool got their tails up for about 10 minutes after the score and had a belief that they could win the game. But I think thereafter we regained control. We tactically changed that again. We regained control. They missed a couple of chances, but in fairness, there's huge errors again from us, like their goal. We've had some really good play and not taken advantage of 3 or 4 good chances. So I think by fact that when you listen to me speak and you listen to the manager Hartlepool speak after the game, he's grateful and acknowledged it was a point that they'll take. And we're disappointed that we don't get all 3. I'm not even going to talk about the decision in the first half of the referee, which was shambolic, absolutely shambolic. And it was interesting, one of the best referees in my lifetime at a distance, although he has ref my teams, Mike Dean, was there on the day, assessing and coaching. And as I walked in the dressing room, he gave me the eyes, Mike, and I asked him outright. He said, it's a red card every day. But that's his opinion, and not the match referee's opinion, but we had a lot of empathy, I think, even with the Hartlepool staff, but not giving. Just another poor decision. And Mike did also throw in that we should have 2 penalties against Tranmere when he travelled and sat in the Tranmere supporters watching us lose to Tranmere here. 2 blatant penalties not given. So we're not getting the rub of the green either, but we'll focus on the positives in our first half performance and the last 20 minutes at Hartlepool where we laid siege to the goal.
Well, I mean, if you look at the first half against Hartlepool and the second half against Northampton, there's a hell of a 90 minutes in there if you can put it all together.
Yeah, you've got it made then, haven't you? Listen, I think I look at the last 3 games now. Colchester at home. Should we win? Yes, we should win. Do we score a late goal and it's a goal that should stand? Yes, we do, but it's chopped off. We go to Northampton, I think you're right. There's not a lot in the first half. They take a chance. They miss another half chance where if he scores it, everyone says it's a great header, not just a good header. We come in the second half and we're totally dominant. John Biddy rang me on the Saturday evening and said, wow, what a performance. And it was a stunning performance, but we only got a point. And we go to Hartlepool and we draw that one. We should be sitting here, just in the last 3 games alone, with 6 more points. But no one gives you anything in this game. And I've always said to the lads since we come in June and July that promotions have to be earned from the first day to the last day. 3 points in August is the same as 3 points on Saturday. But in the early part of the season, people forget it and talk about blending and gelling, and I keep hearing other managers in my league talking about they've only had 2.5 seasons to build a team, and here we are trying to do it in 2 transfer windows.
Well, I mean, if there's been one criticism, I think, of the club this year, or the team this year, is how many times have we sat here and you've said if we scored 1, we would have scored 4 or 5. You're just not putting teams to bed when you're on top.
I think there's genuine mitigation reasons why. I think we go into the season with Elliot listed absolutely stunning form. Elliot gets injured on the opening day of the season. 2 or 3 weeks later, we're told it could be almost season long. I know he's back on the grass now, but it could be season long. We don't get a chance to readjust to that, but then we lose Josh March, we've lost Luke Norris. It's unbelievable what we've put up with 5 goalkeepers in the camp, lost Van Kooten for 10 games, lost Wimbledon for 6 games. We've been affected by big players going out that had they been in, I'm confident we'd have more points, but I suppose every manager would say that as well.
Well, if we've talked about sort of halves of football where you've been outstanding. Wimbledon away was a case in point. Second half, absolutely outstanding after a disappointing first period. You need to put 60, 70 minutes together on Saturday.
Yeah, I think the first half at Wimbledon, the Bill Shankly comment, if that was played at the bottom of the garden, I'd have shut the curtains and turned away. It was that poor. But it wasn't poor in the second half where we suddenly had a belief and we realised we have to win a football match. And that's what Saturday, Tuesday and the following Saturday and these 6 games are going to be about. It's about a points accumulation. We're in the position that every team would want except Leighton Orient. Don't like those other managers in this top 6, top bunkum anymore. We might not be in that position Saturday night, but we're in this position. We look after ourselves Saturday and Tuesday. That's a long way towards League One.
It is. While the 3 points have been great over the last couple of games, you just want to win at the minute just to give you that little bit of a buffer.
Listen, I've always said, you draw too many games, you go nowhere. You're inconsistent and you're mid-table-ish. That's what drawing too many games does. I've had teams like that as well, where you've got, we're 15 unbeaten, but you've drawn 8, 9, 10 of them. So winning is what needs to be done at this stage of the season. We're all aware of that. The group's aware of that. We know the pressures that we'll have, but every team, bar probably 5 or 6 clubs who are mid-table, have those pressures to win football matches, don't they? And we have to embrace that. We're confident going into them. We'll actually get into them on good form. If you look at Hartlepool in isolation, you look at Northampton, Colchester, the large spells. So we're not a team that's derailed and get in there not in good form. We're in really good form. And all we need is a little bit of luck. And maybe a referee who'll give us a decision. I've not even looked who the referee is on Saturday. I don't even look anymore because the EFL, by their own words, they're fed up ringing me and saying, yeah, we see it, yeah, we see it, yeah, we see it. Don't ring me anymore. And that's the point. We have to do more than enough that it doesn't become about a referee's decision.
And just finally, there's congratulations in the camp for you and Carl, both being nominated, shortlisted for AFL awards.
Well, I think it's a fantastic achievement for Carl. Carl had a real tough time at Oldham when they got relegated. I think he was the talisman. I think speaking to people that support Oldham at the time when we were signing Carl is that he was the one hope probably for the last 8-10 weeks of the season that he could keep them alive. So it's a fantastic recognition to him. For me, it's about the staff, it's about the players, it's about the people around the football club. I've got those trophies in the cabinet. I would love another one because it means you've been the best. But we know how important it is just to focus on our football, and we'll applaud our skipper for sure.